US-led NATO is working to bring Finland and Sweden into the alliance and increase its presence in the Asia-Pacific region without reflecting on the disastrous results on the current Ukraine crisis, which was caused by its eastward expansion. On May 5, the White House welcomed deliberations by Finland and Sweden on potentially joining the NATO alliance. Finland and Sweden took a major step toward joining NATO in the middle of April, citing concerns of Russia's military actions in Ukraine. However, Russia had repeatedly warned that the move is a provocation and said it would have to rebalance the situation with its own measures. With the crisis continuing in Ukraine, the US-led NATO has done nothing useful to de-escalate the conflict but to add oil to the fire by offering weapons to Ukraine continuously. It is true that NATO is using the Ukraine crisis to seek its enlargement globally, especially in Asia, or to include more topics of ASEAN countries. South Korea and Japan have been chosen by NATO as a bridge to help with its expansion in Asia, as they are allies of the US. It is important to note that South Korean and Japanese foreign ministers were invited to join the high-profile NATO session in April for the first time as NATO seeks to gain cooperation from Asia to isolate Russia and pressure China over the Ukraine crisis. NATO expects to expand its influence in the Asian Pacific region, but some members in the organization may not necessarily agree with the US, and it is important to see how NATO deems its relation with China in the June summit. Since the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, NATO is taking tougher tones against China and Russia. Bringing NATO, a rather mature security alliance, into Indo-Asia Pacific will facilitate US's coordination of different mechanisms, including the Quad and AUKUS, to better contain China. But people of Asia and China do not forget the brutality of NATO on the late night of May 7, 1999. On that night, NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in Belgrade of Yugoslavia with missiles during its campaign against the former Yugoslavia, killing 3 Chinese citizens and injuring dozens. Every year on May 7, which falls on Saturday this year, Chinese netizens commemorate martyrs and condemn the US-led NATO's violence. At a UN Security Council meeting on May 5, 2022 on Ukraine crisis, China's permanent representative to the UN, Zhang Jun, said that the Chinese people never forgot the savage act and will not allow history to repeat. At the press conference on Friday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian also noted that NATO claims to be a defensive organization, but it violated international laws to wantonly start wars in other countries and caused casualties of numerous civilians. He also said NATO's 5 rounds of eastward enlargement did not make Europe any safer but planted the seeds for the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Cold War ended a long time ago, and NATO should make adjustments in accordance with modern times. Zhao Lijian also said the US-led NATO should abandon the Cold War mentality, stop inciting confrontations of different groups in Europe, the Indo-Pacific and globally, and make concrete actions to promote global peace and stability. Thank you.